Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and if you're planning a Universal Orlando trip, you might already know that Epic Universe isn't just another theme park. It's completely changed the game forever. This brand new park uses a wheel and spoke layout with Celestial Park as the central hub connecting 4 immersive worlds. And these worlds are Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berk, Dark Universe, and the brand new Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic. And what you'll find is how you move, when you ride, and where you spend your time matters here more than any other Universal park. There is so much advanced technology and immersive detail that I'm about to break down 10 things you should always do to avoid wasting time, long waits, and missing some of the best experiences at Epic Universe. As always, I'm very excited, so let's go get started. Thank you again so much for checking out this video. Like I said, I'm about to break down 10 things you should always do at the brand new Universal Orlando Park, Epic Universe. And we're going to jump right in, and we are going to start with number 1 and work our way up to 10. And I have what is probably one of the most popular rides in all of Universal Orlando at this point in time. But one thing I think you should do, especially if you are a thrill enthusiast or roller coaster enthusiast, is you have to ride Stardust Racers twice. And so why does it matter to ride this twice? Well, you'll see this is Epic Universe's signature coaster. It's a dual launch racing train and the standout thrill within this park. And what makes it so special is the highlight is the celestial spin, where one train will introvert over the other at full speed. And the reason why I feel like you should ride it twice is really 2 things. The first is there are 2 distinct tracks. There's yellow and green, which are very similar but definitely worth comparing for yourself. At this point in time, I definitely have been leaning towards the yellow side. But the other reason, which I think is really cool here, is it is completely different experiences in the morning and at night. You'll see in the morning you definitely are able to really kind of see the track and get a real feel for like where you're going, but at night the trains light up and you really feel like you are on a trip through the galaxy. It is a really cool experience, and for that reason I feel like you will get a different experience, and that's why you should check it out twice if you can. Over to number 2, and I think this is especially true for families who are visiting with young kids, and some might not like this, but my honest opinion is if you're visiting Epic Universe, you do want to splurge and upgrade and get a power band to use within Super Nintendo World. And so from a budgeting standpoint, the power band is going to be right around $45. And the reason why I'm saying it matters is because without a band, you're definitely missing a massive part of Super Nintendo World. And what you're really unlocking by purchasing the power band would be the interactive blocks throughout the land. Think of it like an old school Mario game where you're going to go around the world and pretty much kind of hit blocks and it will make the noises from the video games. There's also mini game stations within Super Nintendo World, and if you complete enough of these mini games, you will access and unlock the Bowser Jr. Showdown Challenge. And so you'll see, again, if you're visiting with young kids, if you go and you look at the ride, the height requirements at Epic Universe, you'll see you might struggle to really kind of plan out a jam-packed day. And I just feel like this is one of those things that you definitely need in order to get more out of your day when you're visiting with young kids. And another tip and trick on top of the tip and trick here would be if you're staying in an official Universal Orlando hotel, I would just go and make sure you pick up your power band at your hotel gift shop. What this will allow you to do is you can link it to the Universal Orlando app, so the moment you walk into Super Nintendo World, you're pretty much ready to hit the ground running. You don't have to stop, buy your band, figure out how to link it in the hot Florida sun. I just feel like your day will go that much smoother. And if you're worried about the added cost, one way that you can kind of offset that cost is you can go visit theparkprodigy.com, where we do sell discounted Universal Orlando theme park tickets and vacation packages. And what you'll find is the average family of 4 will save a lot more than that $45, so you pretty much can get your power up band for free. And if you want to go check out our website, be sure to use Park Prodigy 10 on your Universal Orlando theme park tickets to save an extra $10 off on each eligible Universal Orlando ticket. Over to number 3, and I would say don't skip Monsters Unchained, even if you've done some research and have heard that the ride system is similar to Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. Now, why it matters is I personally feel like this is probably from a theming and just all in like package deal standpoint the best ride at Epic Universe. I know we spoke about Stardust Racers, one of the best roller coasters in all of Universal Orlando, but I think when you package up a ride, I think this is by far the best ride at Epic and definitely one of the best rides in all of Universal Orlando. And one of the reasons why is it's not just a scary ride, it's technically impressive, and there are really a couple things that set it apart. There are 14 massive animatronics that I can't really do, when I say massive, I don't even think it does it justice about how cool these animatronics are. And this is a really, really unique storyline, and we don't get that anymore in the theme parks, in my opinion. So when you kind of package it all together, you have all these iconic Universal's monsters woven together into a brand new storyline that's just really, really enjoyable. So moving on to the next reason why you might have skipped it, like I said, is it does have the same ride system as Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And if you've been watching my channel, I do not go on that ride at all. It makes me extremely motion sickness, if that's even the correct terminology. I get extremely motion sick, and I don't go on that ride because of that. But what I have found with Monsters Unchained, because it's more animatronics and like real life theming and not as many screens, I don't get motion sickness on Monsters Unchained. So definitely take it for what it's worth, and maybe if you do get motion sickness as well, you can get by and you will really enjoy this ride. I also will say, last one before I jump over to the next, is be sure to kind of go through the queue, which will take you through Victoria Frankenstein's estate. In my opinion, it's worth the wait, and if you use the single rider line, you might miss some of the pre-show. Over to number 4, and again, this is not going to be a new one if you've been watching my channel, but maybe this is the first time you're checking out one of my videos, so we did have to add it to the list, and I would say you always want a rope drop battle at the Ministry if you're trying to save the most time. And again, this is just my honest opinion. I will say you definitely need early park admission at this point in time in order to do this, and you do need to be some of the first guests in the park. But what I'm finding is I really feel like this ride will give you an advantage on your day if you can get it out of the way as early as possible, and I'm talking within the first 20 to 30 minutes, but even if you push it and it turns into be an hour in the morning, just get it out of the way and your day will go that much smoother after. And so you might be wondering, well, Mike, what happens if I have the Universal Express Pass? What should I do? And over to number 5, I'm kind of combining 2 within 1. And what I would say is, if you have the Universal Express Pass and you're trying to get the most out of your day and you are going to do the Toothless meet and greet, I would do the Toothless meet and greet with your early park admission. But on top of that, another one that I would kind of say within this is, even if you're not doing early park admission, I would absolutely go and experience the Toothless meet and greet. It's not even my opinion. It's by far one of the most popular character interactions in all of Orlando. It consistently has a 90-minute wait in the middle of the day, and for good reason. It is a fully animated interactive dragon from the How to Train Your Dragon movies, and it really is so clever. Universal, they hit a grand slam with this one. The way that he moves and he interacts, you can actually pet Toothless. If you have How to Train Your Dragon fans in your family, you need to do this meet and greet. It is that cool. And the tie into kind of what I stated earlier with the Express Pass, it's not accepted at the Toothless meet and greet, but it is accepted at Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry, and also at this point in time, it's accepted really at 10 out of the 11 rides. So if you're trying to get the most out of your day and you have the Express Pass, well, it just makes the most sense to try to get Toothless out of the way as early as possible. Over to number 6, and I would say do a little research and make sure that you strategically plan your breaks around the main 2 shows, which are going to be the Untrainable Dragon at Isle of Berk and Le Cirque Arcanus at the Ministry of Magic. And this is going to be especially true for families who are visiting in those warmer, hotter months, especially middle of summer when it gets really, really crazy down here in Florida. And the reason why I'm saying strategically plan is I definitely would have a game plan to try to hit these shows in the middle of the day. What I'm saying here is to get out of the heat at their peak times, and you can get into a large air-conditioned theater. And it doesn't seem like much, but little moves like this can really help you just kind of recharge your batteries before you have to go out and kind of tackle the second half of your Epic Universe day. And the reason why I state that is from the wait times that we've seen so far, they are long days. Epic Universe has been open consistently till 10 o'clock at night. For Disney standards, that's kind of just a regular walk in the park when you compare it to Magic Kingdom night times. But for Universal Orlando, park hours over the past couple years, it is a longer day. And if you're not sure how to plan your day, if it's all overwhelming to you, if you're in the early stages of planning a Universal Orlando trip, like I said earlier in this video, just go and check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. We actually have a full-blown team of travel planners, and what we will do if you do book through us for your vacation packages, we'll actually ask you which ride you want to go on, and we will give you the park plan and the itinerary to follow that will have these shows broken out within your day. Okay, over to number 7 of something you always should do at Epic, and this is one that's also going to help you get off your feet. You'll get out of the hot Florida sun and really allow you to kind of recharge your batteries, and that would be understanding how the quick service food ordering works within the restaurant. And so the way that Universal Orlando has been handling quick service meals is what you'll do is you'll pretty much be able to go to the quick service restaurant of your choice, and you can sit down and find a table and then mobile order to that table. And the reason why I love this is, again, you can get out of the hot Florida sun and you get to find your table first. And if you've just been really any sort of food court style vibe, right, you know that feeling feeling when you have your food in your hand on your tray, you're trying not to spill your drink, and now you have to find empty table in a sea of people. It is by far one of the worst feelings in the world. And on top, now throw a family of 4 on top of that with a stroller and a crying baby. It is not fun. And your theme park vacation is supposed to be fun. So I think this is something Universal does so much better than Disney. The way it works is you'll find your table. There will be a number on your table. You can mobile food order through the Universal Orlando app, and they'll bring the food directly to you. It's a slam dunk. One of the additional tips and tricks on top of this, though, would be if you are eating at one of the really popular quick service restaurants, and some of them that come to mind are definitely going to be Pizza Moon, Toadstool Cafe, or within the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, I would say be strategic and plan your meals around the off-peak times, because what I have seen personally is that the lines for those restaurants can kind of actually be out the door, and you still would have to wait to be able to go get a table. And typically, I would say lunch hours are going to be between 12 to 2. Dinner hours, ideally, for most families, are going to be between 5 to 7. Okay, we're moving along over to number 8, and we would say always stay for the Celestial Park Nighttime Fountain Show. And so why this matters is this is Epic Universe's version of a park-wide send-off. It's kind of the kiss goodnight at the park. And it's a nighttime show tied to the fountains that play a unique segment for each portal. And in my opinion, it really does add to the charm of this park, especially at night when everything is lit up, and it's really the perfect way to close out your day. So you might not even know that it's there because it doesn't really get advertised much, but be sure to keep an eye out and stay till the end of the night. In my opinion, for the best viewing spot, I would position yourself facing Helios Grand Hotel. In my opinion, is the view of the hotel lit up in the background during the fountain show is one of the best photo opportunities in the entire park. Okay, over to number 9. This is another one that I love, but I would say be sure to keep an eye out on the portal concierge stations. And so there's 2 things here that are really, really important. What we're finding so far is that Epic Universe is a lot of walking, and it's not even because the park is massive. It's really because of just the way that the portals are set up. You do have to walk all the way into the back of a world. They're not connected at this point in time, so you have to walk all the way back out to the front of the world in order to get over to the next one. So there's a lot of walking that goes into place. But what Universal has done is they've actually put these portal concierge stations around some of the exits to kind of solve the problem of you being able to grab what you need at certain parts of your day. And so there's a couple things here. There are some lockers, which is an important one. So you don't have to make the mistake of putting your stuff in the locker all the way at the front of the park, and then you need to kind of walk all the way back and forth all day long. So give some thought into like which sections you typically will be visiting the most, and that can help you walking, like I said, aimlessly around the park looking for your original locker. The next one that I personally find the most helpful, these are going to also be where you can find the fuel rod stations, which are going to be the reusable portable phone chargers. And so the 2 that come to mind right off the bat is going to be one right outside of Dark Universe, and then there's another fuel rod station right outside of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Ministry of Magic. And so you'll see over now to number 10, we've spoken about it a lot, and it might not come as a surprise, but something you always have to do when visiting Epic Universe is download the Universal Orlando app before you get to Orlando. And so why this matters? Well, of course, like I said, Epic Universe is going to be completely different from the theme park experience you might have had in the past. There's a lot of walking across the entire park, walking within worlds only to come back out of the world. The Universal Orlando app really is going to be your best friend. It's going to tell you the live wait time so you don't waste time walking to one world and you get there and the ride you wanted to go on is down or has a wait time that you just don't want to wait on. But you'll see, like I said, on top of that, you'll also be able to do the mobile food ordering that we discussed. You also will be able to link your power-up band or the Universal Orlando interactive wands for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. If you do upgrade and get both of them, it's going to be managed within the app, and it really is more of a game-like experience at this point in time. And you can also set sort of reminders that say, hey, if Battle at the Ministry goes below 2 hours, send me a reminder so we can go get online. Really, everything that you would need to have your day run smoothly is going to be within the Universal Orlando app, and that's why you absolutely need to have it if you're visiting Epic Universe. But that is it, everyone. Those are essentially 10 things I would always do when visiting Epic Universe. I really hope you found this video helpful, and like I said, if you are planning a Universal Orlando trip and you need a little additional help, just be sure to go check out our website, theparkprodigy.com. We are running a bunch of promotions right now, including that extra $10 off select Universal Orlando tickets. That promo code is going to be ParkProdigy10, but we also have $50 off if you book your Universal Orlando vacation package with us. That promo code is going to be MAGIC50. But I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you again so much for checking out this video, and until next time, I will talk to you soon.